What's up, y'all? It's nerdy news. Um, the camera resolution may not be that good. I'm gonna try to fix it in post editing. But today we hear what's some crazy news. So this is from the official PlayStation blog itself. I know I'm a little late to the news. I know a lot of people have probably talked about this. I know a lot of people have shared their opinions, but I just want to put my own 2 cents in this. As y'all can see up here at the top, we have two other articles that we're going to read. So this is going to be a pretty lengthy video, but this is just to keep you guys updated on gaming news and also to share my opinion. So let's get into it. So if y'all haven't heard, recently PlayStation has announced that physical disc production will be ending in January 2028 for new games releasing on PlayStation consoles. This here is a big slap in the face for a lot of gamers. This is a very short article, so we're just going to read it. In response to shifting trends in consumer performance, new games will be released on PlayStation Store and at retailers in digital formats only. As consumer preferences and broader entertainment industry continue to shift away from physical disc to digital, physical game disc production for all new games releasing on PlayStation consoles will be discontinued starting January 2028. So, I'm not here to, promote piracy or anything like that, but y'all have until 2028 to basically do what y'all need to get done. Is what I'm hearing. That's really what I'm hearing. You got till 2028 to do what you need to get done. Do with that information what you will. But let's continue. Following this date, new games will be available on PlayStation Store and at retailers in digital formats only. This transition has no impact on games that are already released or will be releasing prior to January 2028 in this format. This is a natural direction for Sony Interactive Entertainment to adapt to consumer trends as the general performance for digital media significantly outpaces physical discs. So here's the thing. This is a double-edged sword because this is harming game preservation, and I'm all for the game preservation. I'm all for um physical media and everything like that. Now, I think in certain cases, obviously, if you cannot afford a physical edition of a console because they are more expensive, and you have a digital version of a console, then I don't think you really are fully to blame. But what I will say is that the people that are to blame are people that willingly, when even disc games were heavy and people were buying them and collecting, disc games, um, and still buying digital formatted games. The issue here is that the consumer and most of the consumers will not change. There's an outrage and there's an uproar about, oh well, why are they getting rid of physical gaming, why are they getting rid of physical gaming? But a lot of consumers are not making a stand, and a lot of consumers feel like a stand is pointless, which I think is kind of redundant, to have that thought process, if that's the right word to use. I think that thought process is very damaging. I think that thought process is exactly why we're going into a digital only format, and Sony is standing 10 toes down on it. They're standing 10 toes down because they know that people have this mindset of, even if we wanted to do something, even if we wanted to speak up, nothing would get done. And this is the mindset that they're running off of. They're not really running off of the fact that people are buying these digital games. They're saying these things, yeah, because to sound better, but they know that, like, hey, these people are going to feel like it's pointless to revolt and stand up against us doing this. And there's multiple articles and multiple things of people out there saying this, but we'll get into those a little bit later. This transition will enable us to align more closely with how most of our community prefers to access and play games today. We'll continue to prioritize our resources to drive innovation, and I love how they say to drive innovation. They're not doing anything innovative, in my opinion. We're driving innovation with consoles, but we're not driving innovation with gaming. That doesn't make sense. We're sitting here, we're studying making like remasters. We're here remaking games. We're here releasing games that aren't fully done, that are coming out with a lot of bugs. We're talking about innovating consoles and really just saying, hey, we know you guys are not buying physical games. We don't care about game preservation. We don't care about you guys on your games. We're going to sit here and we're going to say some fancy words to make you guys think that we care, but we really don't care. Um, and how players can access games and provide choices as to where players prefer to purchase new games. Whether that's at Realtors or PlayStation Store, we remain committed to delivering a world class gaming experience to our fans, and we thank you for your continued support. Basically, they're saying. Basically they're saying like, yeah, we thank you guys for making us fully go into this decision. We know you guys are not buying physical games like that, and you are the reason why we're doing this. Um, Former PlayStation boss says Sony needs more games from more people to justify $1,000 PS6. Let me. Oh, hold on. Let me see. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna do this one next. Now, before we get into this article, I just want to say I don't think that there is ever going to be a time to justify an $1,000 console. There will never be a. There will never, in my personal opinion, there will never be a time to justify an $1,000 console. The whole purpose of a console is to make gaming affordable. I think maybe if a gaming consoles capped out at maybe $900 would be much more understanding and justifiable than $1,000. And I know that's like, well, that's only $100 off, bro. What do you talk about? Come on, bro. That's only $100 off. It doesn't matter. $1,000, you might as well just get a gaming PC at this point. And I feel like it drastically defeats the purpose of gaming or home console gaming in general. Um, Most games are falling into standard sets of buckets. Um, for former PlayStation boss Sean Layden thinks studios need to start investing in unique games that entice a wider audience to justify the increasing cost of consoles. Now, I want to say this before I continue reading this. This person is more of a professional than I am, right? The person that's writing this article, and the boss, obviously, a former PlayStation boss. But this is just my opinion as a consumer. If I'm not for digital only format. I want to make that clear. I'm not for digital only format gaming. But if we're going to digital only format gaming, I feel like what would justify an $1,000 console would be cheaper games. You're buying the $1,000 console and then you're paying $80, $70 for a game. If you're going a digital only format, you need to kind of be like Steam, where you're having deals, sales, discounts, and things of that nature constantly or pretty frequently. Not when a gaming studio has an anniversary, not on Labor Day, not on fucking Pride Month. And there's nothing wrong with it. Before y'all be like Pride Month, hold on. No, what I'm saying is they need to be more frequent than just going with the trends. You feel me? That's what I'm saying. I know when I threw Pride Month in there, people probably got a little scared. I just want y'all to know. I think what justifies an $1,000 price tag is cheaper games, discounts, sales, things of that nature. I'm not saying that even then people will buy an $1,000 price tag, but what I am saying um or $1,000 console, I'm sorry, but what I am saying is that at least it would make more sense, and at least I think that would show a little bit that these companies care, right? Care something, a backhanded but care nonetheless. The price of hardware has been rising over the past few years. We can blame the rising cost of manufacturing, the shortages driven by AI data centers eating up all the components, or inflation. For whatever reason, the current landscape is a mess, and the next generation is bound to be expensive. As Sony and Microsoft hike the price of current gen systems despite the PS5 and Xbox Series X and Series S being 6 years old, analysts suggest that the PS6 and the next Xbox could cost as much as $1,000. It doesn't sound out of the realm of possibility when your console when you consider Valve has just launched the Steam Machine, a console PC hybrid for the same cost. Now, when I first read this, because I did skim over these articles a little bit to make sure that I wanted to talk about them. But when I first read this, I was like, this had to be made before the I think it's the current CEO of Xbox said that an $1,000 console wouldn't sell. But then when I seen this, I was like, oh no, this was made, relevant to the release of the Steam Machine. I'm not saying wholeheartedly Xbox may 100% try not to make their Xbox or the next gen Xbox an $1,000 console, because rumor states that the next console will be a PC console hybrid, just like the Steam Machine, right? But it just have Xbox on it, and you slap the Xbox interface and all these other things. I'm hoping Xbox does pull through and make it a little cheap to kind of be like, yeah, we really for the gamers. But like this article said, and like it said previously, the rising cost of manufacturing, there's a lot of things that's going to go into play. You guys do have to understand that these people are still businesses at the end of the day. So while I'm hoping that personally, me and for everybody else, that they do not go this route and they just be like, look, bro, we coming here for the gamers, we here for the consumers, you know. I don't have high hopes for it. I don't have high hopes, but I hope I can be proven wrong. Um, from what little we know about the PS6, we can expect technical improvements over the PS5, which could mean better ray tracing and higher frame rates. Okay, so PlayStation, I'm not gonna lie. Sony, I'm not gonna lie. Y'all might make me crash out. Why? Like, see, we let these like tech people get to us so bad. Why? Like, high frame rate, high ray tracing, and high frame rates, guys. We may potentially be considering to go digital only because we want you guys to see every pore in the model of the characters. We want you guys to see every singular strand of hair that we put into our character models. Sometimes sometimes I think that like company like they just be missing the mark, bro. They be throwing the football and it don't even hit the touchdown, bro. It don't even hit the football goal, whatever it's called. With PlayStation's plan to end physical disc production in 2028, analysts predict that it could also be an all digital console. Sadly, uh, I mean, yes, I don't know. I mean, why is that a prediction? That is like quite literally, clearly what it's going to be. Um, um, but would this justify an $1,000 price tag? No. Um, According to Layden, who spoke about the changing industry in an interview with Kotaku, it doesn't, and Sony will need to lead with software innovation to draw gamers instead. Um, I want to read more of this because I don't know what he necessarily means by or what they mean by software innovation. Um, it could be something to do with like games dropping with less bugs, or it being a really responsive console, not having to worry about overheating as much, even though you really don't naturally have to worry about overheating a lot. But let's read a little bit more, guys. I think this is, yeah. I mean, really, how much more ray tracing can you put in there? Exactly. That I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you, brother. He said, and will my eyes actually see 120 frames per second? Layden can't say what the PS6 will look like compared to the PS5 since he hasn't worked at Sony since 2019. But if there's a chance the technical gap between the two consoles is too narrow, software is where things need to change. I think we're already kind of limiting our reach just because of the games we're building now. I mean, variety and range seem to be narrowing. Layden said most games are falling into a standard set of buckets. He pointed to the genres of games we've been seeing over the years, including zombie apocalypse, space marine games, action titles with guys with really long swords and not much armor, and dragons. Layden then brought up GTA 6, and while he acknowledged that the game is going to be a massive hit, some gamers don't care about it. And I'm one of those gamers. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. The only GTA games I've ever played were GTA San Andreas and GTA 4. To me personally, out of those two, I still like GTA 4 over GTA San Andreas. Don't smite me. Do not shoot me. I understand GTA San Andreas is a classic, but GTA 4 is just my personal favorite. Okay? But I've never played. I'm not gonna say that. I've played GTA 5, did not like it. Okay. Um, I was tired of it. I was tired of GTA. That's right. That's really why I didn't like it. Every time I've tried to play GTA 5, I've put it down during the first couple of missions, and I'm just like, bro, I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of this same concept, right? GTA 6 is the same way. I'm not excited for it. I'm not a GTA gamer, bro. I'm sorry. Shout out to all the GTA gamers out there, but I'm not one myself personally. But I also have been seeing on the internet, especially TikTok, how, and I know some people may be like, bro, TikTok, come on, bro, TikTok. But these are still real people making these videos at the end of the day. People are not excited about it for real either. Like, there are people who are very, very excited, and then there are people who are not very excited about this. I personally and others are not. And I feel like it's because, like he stated, now I see what he's saying now about the software. Like, maybe we should be pushing the software. We should be doing more innovative, more bigger, broader, grander games. But even then, I don't think that would even be a fix, right? Because I love RPGs. So before people hate on me and before people say, "Oh my gosh," I love RPGs. RPGs are some of the longest format of games in the gaming medium. I'm going to tell you right now, not everybody wants to play a long game. And even sometimes I get tired of playing a 20 plus hour game. Like, and like I said, again, I love RPGs. I don't think broader, grander, greater is the direct solution we should go. I do think that it should be part of the solution, but I also think that gaming needs to minimize. Let me make sure you guys are still recording before I keep talking. Okay, I do think that gaming needs to minimize a little bit. Make a good 8 hour, 12 hour game. Make a good 10, 11 hour game, and make it unique, right? At the end of the day, all art is copied from something. The only thing that makes every piece of art different is your own take and spin on it. And a lot of times with these gaming companies, these writers, these programmers, coders, animators, all that goes into the gaming team, what they do is they're just putting their take on a story that they are very passionate about. But the issue is here is it feels like, in my opinion, gaming is going is being too safe, is being played too safe. I'm not going to sit here and berate with examples because I don't really have a lot of examples to give, but from what I do recollect and from what I do remember here and there, a lot of gaming does feel like it's going safe. We are pushing out more sequels. We are making more remasters than we have than I think I've ever seen. I'm 22 years old, right? I'm an '04 baby. So when I was young, obviously I couldn't buy, the Xbox 360. I couldn't buy the PS3. My grandmother did. But even then, I felt like I had different types of games coming out. Now, yeah, there were still, now don't get me wrong, Xbox 360 still was hyping up the FPS. We're not gonna sit here and let Xbox get away with certain things. There were still, Xbox was like the heavy like shooter console, while PlayStation 3 was framed as the console for hardcore gamers. Which we're going to get into that saying in a little bit later, okay? Because they get y'all with that shit every time. They get y'all with that hardcore gamer shit every time, and y'all eat it up and y'all fall for it. I don't know why, but back to this. Um, so you see those categories are coming around that of course Grand Theft Auto is going to be like an asteroid piercing the atmosphere and hitting the gaming universe with great force and power, he said. But there are a lot of people in the world who really don't care about Grand Theft Auto, the non-gaming community. I don't I don't think it's just a non-gaming community. The gaming community, I think, does. There's people. I mean, me, for example, there are people in the gaming community that do not give a fuck about Grand Theft Auto. We understand that it's a big game and it's a major hit and it's gonna go crazy. It may even win Game of the Year when it releases. But I do not. I don't think it's just a non-gamer thing. I think even in the gaming community, they're tired of GTA. And personally, um, my personal opinion. I mean, he continued explaining. We talk about how big we are. 220 billion, 250 billion dollar industry. But our social impact is the reverse. Everybody has a favorite song. That's probably the least revenue generating entertainment category, music, compared to gaming and film and television, but yet it has the widest impact. And so gaming is huge on the revenue side of things, but it's a very select group that are doing uh it's a very select group that are doing it. And not to rear off to something else. But I have said this about anime before, right? People think because of this anime boom, right, that anime is this broad thing that's loved by many. But on the contrary, it is still heavily judged. Same thing with gaming. Gaming looks on the outside like it's loved, like it's it is widely known, but like it's widely loved and everybody loves a gamer, everybody loves people who plays games. But the truth of it is gamers are still heavily judged. Okay. um it is still considered a nerdy thing in a negative way. That's why I want to make the word nerd be cool, right? But it's still looked at under a negative light. You sit at home, you're a gooner, you're in your mom's basement, you play games because you want to talk to e-girls and all this other stuff. A lot of people may think that, like, bro, that's just internet. That's just a small group of people that are saying that. People don't really think that. There's a lot of people that really do think that. There's a lot of people that really do think that a lot of gamers are losers, lame nerds. And the truth of the matter is, not really. I feel like in order for you to be able to spend $80 consistently on a game, and I'm not going to say consistently, there's actually a study. We're going to get into this later. There's going to be so many videos breaking down so many things, guys. But it is not as huge as people think it is. Like, I do agree with the statement that it is huge on the revenue side of things, but it's a very select group that are doing it. And what I think he means here is that it is huge revenue wise. They are making profit, they are making money, but the people that are giving them money is a very small group of people that are giving them money, and that is true. And let me tell you right now, it is not the hardcore gamers. It is not the hardcore gamers that are giving them a lot of money. The hardcore gamers are waiting for the games that they specifically love and want to play in the new games that are dropping, indie games and stuff like that. A lot of the times it's probably the casual gamers that are doing it. You're getting a new Call of Duty every year. You're getting a new Madden every year. You're getting a new 2K every year. You're getting a new whatever famous hero shooter live service game every year, damn near. It's them niggas that are probably that rose up the revenue bar, or the profit margin probably, or the profit bar, whatever you want to call it. But that's just an opinion. I could be wrong. I gotta do more research. I'm a novice at this. Okay. We're getting more money from the same people all the time, and not necessarily bringing in new people into the experience. And if these people who aren't in the gaming experience have already said, we don't care about Call of Duty, we don't care about Grand Theft Auto, we don't care about Gran Turismo, doing more of those same games is obviously not going to appeal to those people either. Hold on, wait a minute. Um, we're getting okay. Yeah, exactly. So this kind of proves my point here. Now I do think that maybe it's the wording that he's using. The people who are saying that they don't care about Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto are not people who are not in the gaming space. These are people who are in the gaming space and are tired of seeing the same type of games all the time, right? The pe if I believe if you want to bring a non-gamer into a gaming experience, I think what one we need to stop doing is stop trying to make games Hollywood. Stop trying to make games like movies. Look, games are a medium that is one of the most unique and interesting, and I feel like no medium ever could get on the level of experience, love, connection, immersion that gaming has. Okay? But what I will say is, if you're making games that are trying to appeal to an outside audience, let's appeal to the movie getters. Let's appeal to the music goers. You're doing the shit wrong. You're doing it wrong. In my opinion, you're doing it wrong. Make games that are so different than these Call of Duties. Make shooters that are so different. I've had this idea and someone can steal this idea. I don't give a shit. Go do it. Have fun. I have had this idea for the longest that there should be a very story based fighter. And what I mean by that is that it's heavy in the lore, right? It's not just a fighting game where it's like, oh, um, have a couple chat text bubbles up on the screen. You press A through the dialogue, and then you get into the fight. Like, no, let it be like kind of sandboxy, not on some Street Fighter 6 shit, right? But let it be a little sandboxy, but it have like this cool story to it, right? It could be one of probably a very story heavy, and I don't mean story heavy like Tekken, because Tekken still, even with its cutscenes, is not it's still in that format of how traditionally fighting games are made. But make something different. The people that are saying they don't care about a Call of Duty, a Grand Theft Auto, Gran Turismo are not non-gamers. Non-gamers think that those games are corny anyway. They think every game is corny. It's not the non-gamers, bro. It's the hardcore gamers. It's the gamers that these companies say that they appeal to. The hardcore gamers that are saying, bro, we don't give a shit about this, right? You can't make a casual become a hardcore gamer if you're feeding them the same shit, and you're not being like, okay, let's make a fantasy FPS. Let's make an FPS shooter with fucking wizards and shit or something. I don't know, right? You're not doing it, bro. While Layden thinks discoverability is one facet of the issue, the main problem is creativity. And if developers close ranks and continue making shooters by appealing to what the base user wants, things will be fine. But we won't get any bigger. We won't bring any more people into the tent, and that's probably bad. Okay, so yeah, here basically is what I was saying. If you make the same type of shooter, it's great because you're gonna get money as a company. But that's all. It's gonna become stagnant. It's like a graph, right? The line is just gonna go straight the whole time. It's gonna be straight the whole time. It's never gonna be a peak. It's never gonna be a rise. And it might not even be a decrease. But sometimes being stagnant decreases a lot of things. A lot of things. He added, we need to bring more gamers for more we need to bring more games for more people, which means actually you have to have more people making games in different places, in different experiences. I want to find out what games from Uruguay, hopefully I'm not saying that wrong, look like, and what kind of games designers we have in Bulgaria. Now, I will say something here with these two things, right? Because JRPGs have been dominating, and JRPGs are my personal favorite type of RPGs. But I love RPG games nonetheless, and let's not get it wrong. Translation. I'm going to have a separate video for this later on describing the translation issues that companies like I think it was Square Enix have faced when it came down to things with Final Fantasy and everything like that. Translation. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this because, again, like I said, I will talk about this later on at another time for another video. We need to start, if we want to see games from different continents, countries, whatsoever, we need to start caring about people who want to preserve and get games out to the world. And we also got to start taking, I think, as a company, they have to start taking risks. I don't want to say we because I'm not part of the company technically, but got to start taking risks. I don't think we'll see games from Uruguay and Bulgaria anytime soon because a lot of companies don't want to take those risks. But I believe if they do take those risks, it will go crazy, bro. It will go crazy. Just now, China. Now, I will say, while China is kind of regurgitating the same thing, the Black Myth Wukong method, China is going crazy with these games. And I'm not talking about the gotcha games, okay? I'm not talking about the gotcha games. The gotcha games going crazy too, but I think I want to slow down on that, right? It should be a little bit slowed down, but they are going crazy, bro. They're going crazy, okay? But the last article, and then I'll let you guys go. I know I'm talking your guys' ears off. I'm gonna have to clip so much of this and add it on socials, bro. And it's probably damn near maybe close to an hour. Um, Analyst says Sony going all in on digital is like the death of PC disk drives. Not a single person is complaining about it today. The conversation needs to shift to consumer rights and what a license should enable. My fault, y'all. If that was loud in y'all ear, I'm so sorry. In case you haven't heard, Sony reluctantly announced that it will stop producing physical game discs coming 2028. A move PC gamers West Finland, or whatever, West or Weiss, argued, continues a trend of consoles turning into little more than worse PCs. But Daniel Ahmad, a video game market analyst and director of research and insights at Nico Partners, argued in a post on X that we've all done this song and dance before. It's like Apple removing the CD drive from its laptop starting in 2008. Ahmad said in the post. There were definitely a high number of complaints at the time, but not a single person is complaining about it today. You couldn't find many people complaining in the early 2010s either. So before we continue, because I think he does clear up what he I think meant here. Um, that is another thing too. People are complaining right now, but people are not doing anything about it. The issue is going to come where once everything becomes digital only, people will complain. Let me make sure you guys are still recording. People will complain and they still aren't going to do anything about it, right? One step I've seen, a big trend I've seen rise, right, is emulation, pirating, right? And emulation has always been this big thing, regardless. No matter what, emulation has kind of always been big. Um, while I do think that pirating is a stand, uh I I do think that even that sadly will not be enough. Yes, while companies may be losing money, there was a study, and I got to get more articles up here. I should have had more articles, but there was a study that Sony specifically, or really any game, Xbox even too, they make more sales. Well, really Sony, not Xbox. Xbox kind of suffers from sales because of Game Pass. Um, but Sony makes way more money. They get way more of a return on purchases when it's digital than when it's physical. Because some of that money is going to, the corporation that's probably housing it, like GameStop and stuff. And I actually am so upset at myself that I didn't put the GameStop one in here. We're going to talk about that another time. I might make a whole entirely separate video on that. But people are going to talk about it, and nothing is going to happen. People are going to is going to get to that point, and nothing's going to happen, right? I think what needs to happen is when it becomes digital only format, don't buy a console. Truthfully. Truthfully. I know that sounds crazy. I know that sounds outrageous, but don't buy a console. So either it's gonna force them to put a disc drive in it, or it's gonna force them to make a console version, or it's gonna force them to um make to keep physical game format. Right? So that may be crazy. And I know I'm telling a lot of gamers, and even including myself, that you telling me I can't do the hobby that I love. But hey, um, he does add one at caveat to the comparison. Comparison, saying this time a new laptop will cost $5,000 and my old one with a disk drive works just fine. Ahmed argued that this was an inevitable outcome for Sony. If not PS6, then PS7. Digital sales of full games have come to make up the overwhelming majority of sales for both PlayStation and Xbox. And again, yes, Xbox does make a lot, but also a lot of companies, a lot of companies lose money because of like the developers and publishers lose money because of Game Pass. Therefore, the truth is that the console ecosystem is nearly entirely digital at this point. But he also points out this isn't just a market driven change, but a platform led push by Sony to squeeze out more money per user. Something the company's leadership has said is a major priority moving forward. Sony makes more on a digital game sale, which I said earlier, um on the console's bespoke marketplace. In other words, a closed ecosystem further emphasized by the company's move away from PC ports, the PlayStation Store. They make more sales when people buy from the PlayStation Store than Steam or anything like that. And that's why they are also not porting any games to Steam anymore. But they're only doing that because they heard Xbox was going to get them. PlayStation doesn't want Xbox to touch their games. Excuse me, y'all. Um, than it does on retail game sale. As consumer prices continue to balloon in the wake of the RAM apocalypse, the company is looking for extra ways to focus on hardcore gamers who are willing to spend more than ever, who are willing to spend more than ever, guys. Let's look. This is the big word here. Spend more than ever. They want to hit you with the facade. And y'all can't see me pointing at the screen, but I'm pointing at the screen. They want to hit you with the facade right here of focus on hardcore gamers. Their focus is not on hardcore gamers. Their focus is on the people that are spending or willing to spend more than ever. Right? A hardcore gamer, yes, may spend more than ever on a console to play the game because it's a hobby that they love. But the issue is here, how many hardcore gamers are there? I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not as much as you think. It's not as much as you think. A lot of people don't complete games. A lot of people don't complete games. I'm not saying we should appeal to the casual gamers, but I think we should appeal to the casual prophet. What I mean is the people that can't spend thousands of dollars on a gaming console, but they love gaming. You're telling me you want to focus on hardcore gamers, and that's the root of why you want to drive up prices. That's the root of why you're going digital only. But truth be told, you just want to fulfill your own pockets and go back home and feed your own family. And look, there's nothing wrong with feeding your family. There's nothing wrong with putting money in your pockets. There's nothing wrong with caring about the employees more than the consumer. There's nothing wrong with being scared about your business falling down and crumbling, which I don't think would happen, but it could happen at any moment for a lot of businesses. We've seen it happen time and time again. But they want to get you guys with this hardcore gamer shit. They want you guys to think that they care. I've said it before in this video, but I'll continue to say it again. They are not there for the hardcore gamer. They are not there for the hardcore gamer. If this is the case, if they were there for the hardcore gamer, understand me now and understand me forever. They would not be making games be the same all the time. They would have focused on innovation. When people were saying that they were tired of getting the same games over and over and over and over, they would have focused on different games. Sony just now let some of the companies, the developers and publishers that they are the developers, that they have under them, make new IPs. For a moment, they were focused on re-releasing games or making games, or continuing games, making sequels. You're telling me that's a company that cares about hardcore gamers? And I'm not just saying Sony, even with Xbox. Xbox, sometimes I feel like y'all can try harder to get licenses for games. I don't think you guys try hard enough. In my honest opinion, I don't think you guys try hard enough. Okay? Do you think that's a company that care? Do you think that these companies are caring for hardcore gamers like they say they are? I feel like Xbox. Like I do a little bit more research on I'm being more lenient with Xbox, and I'm not trying to be too critical on them. But with my deduction here, this is a facade. This is a figment of your imagination. This is simply a dream. This is a hypnosis. The word hardcore gamer is a hypnosis. They do not give a fuck about us. What Michael Jackson say, all I want to say is that they don't really fuck with us or something along those lines, okay? Um Even if it means alienating players who refuse to make the switch to digital gaming, which I find crazy. As for whether the backlash could change Sony's course amid isn't sure. I'd say it's unlikely, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do end up clarifying certain aspects. Regardless of whether we're talking about bringing physicals back, and right there, but I think I seen somewhere on Instagram or IG there was an article that said Sony thought like it's saying that them going digital only and people canceling their subscription and all that, or people rebelling against digital only isn't going to affect their sales and shit. So Sony is not worried at all. Or embracing digital, the conversation needs to shift to the consumer rights and what a license should enable. Stop killing games was part of it, but gifting, family sharing, uh, but family sharing, refunds, and other aspects are just as important. I still use an external CD drive on my PC with some frequency, and and it's hard to imagine the PlayStation 6 coming with an attachable alternative like the PS5 digital only version has. Now that Sony is leaving physical game discs behind, but this move has also been predicted by the degradation of physical games value. We all probably remember the first time we opened a box to only find a download code, or waited a good long while for an install process that was way too big to be a day one patch. So before I end this video, guys, and just to make sure one more time, just to check, before I end this video, what he said at the end, or what was said at the end, was honestly important. What would make, we're going back up to, or we're going back to this. Former PlayStation boss says Sony needs more games for more people to justify an $1,000 price tag. I'm sorry. Y'all saw me just do that. Flick my booger at y'all. I'm sorry, guys. I'm nasty, I know. Not only will games and innovative games, I think, justify it, discounts and sales will justify it. I feel like refunding. I want to take you guys down a personal experience I had not too long ago. Or, well, yeah, I think it was a year ago. I bought Persona 4 Golden when it dropped on the Xbox, when it dropped on home consoles. If y'all don't know, Persona 4 Golden was only locked to PS Vita. I bought Persona 4 Golden, okay? I pre ordered it, actually, to be exact. On the day of release, when it was supposed to drop, I was so excited and ecstatic to play it. The game, for some reason, still said I had to purchase it. And I was like, huh? I pre ordered the game. Why do I have to purchase the game? So I reset my Xbox. I did the 10-second method where I unplugged it for 10 seconds and I plugged it back in. All the gamer tricks, all of them. I turned my Xbox back on. I click Persona 4 Golden, and it says that I have to buy the game. Confused. So I call up Xbox and I'm like, "Hey, so I pre-ordered Persona 4 Golden, and for whatever reason, it's not working on my console. Is there any way that this can be fixed? Because maybe I thought it was a technical issue. Don't know how they would have fixed it from there, but I was just hoping." The lady tells me, "Well, we can't give refunds," which I already had knew because I looked it up before. They can't give refunds. But it was crazy to me that they couldn't give refunds because you're telling me I think I spent $20. You know me, like, bro, $20, bro. What the fuck is $20, bro? Chill. But the thing is, it's not about the fact that it was $20. It's the fact that I couldn't get a refund for something to repurchase the game. Because the thing is, I wasn't going to get a refund to just keep it and be like, man, fuck Xbox, bro. No, to repurchase the game. I couldn't get a refund. I had to get another $20. I essentially spent $40 because I couldn't get a refund on a game that I already pre-ordered. That has made me forever not want to pre-order a game. So, things like refunding are important, I believe. Things like having a lot of discounts and sales are important. Things like making new games, making new IPs are important. Encouraging creativity is important. Will it justify the $1,000 price tag? Who knows? I don't think it will. Like I said, my personal opinion, nothing will ever I justify as an $1,000 console price tag. But I do think if consoles are going this way, which I ultimately do think that they are going to get in the thousands, I don't ever see them touching the 2,000 mark, but definitely the thousands, maybe 1,500. I think if there was any justification, they need to be there. There needs to be a huge overhaul to justify why the fuck you're making a gaming console $1,000. So let me know your guys' opinion in the comments below, or wherever you guys see this at, IG, TikTok, whatever. And let me know how you guys feel. I know a lot of people aren't too happy and proud about this console shit, or this digital only format, but let me know how you guys feel. I'm gonna see you guys pretty soon. I actually am gonna look up another batch of articles, and I think I'm gonna make a video talking about a certain topic. So yeah, I'm gonna see you guys pretty soon. I love you guys, and next time on Nerdy News, we will be discussing some shady shit.